Welcome back to the Tim and Steve Show. I am Tim Beard.
I'm Steve Morris.
Chief Wilmot.
I like how I don't ever introduce myself.
You want to?
Yeah, no, I like the man of mystery.
Because you're so well known that people see you and they're like,
No, it's your show, man. It's your obligation to introduce me.
apparently it's going to be your
Chivalry is
yours
mine.
and Rob's show coming up soon. His brother.
Maybe. You never know.
I guess it's possible. Yeah. Got the green screen for you as promised.
Yep. And what's going on back there?
Just a wall. It's green right now.
Yeah.
But when I edit it, I don't know. I got the police cruiser. We'll put some cool things. I was hoping to have a video, like a picture of you like running or something. Maybe the picture you showed me before you come on the show with the sideburns and yeah.
It's like my
put that up as a
Yes, that should be.
the many faces of
yeah.
Chief
You
Bruno.
know when you see press conferences, they have those step and repeat banners. So it'll have like a logo and then a name. Town of Newport, and then like the town seal, and there'll be all kinds of those all over the whole banner. We should do like, the Tim and Steve show, and then a little picture of me with that mustache and the Hawaiian shirt.
Collage.
Yeah,
Yeah, we should.
We can do that.
I can be your official mascot.
Yeah, that's just one step closer to you and Rob taking over the show.
Me being your mascot.
Well, it starts as a mascot, and then, since my brother's in town for 2 months, I'm sure y'all end up bumping in unless you.
Yeah, we're gonna play golf, right?
Yeah. And so y'all probably hit it off, and then me and Tim will be in the cart by ourselves. And
How'd this happen?
exactly.
So his whole family is all competitive, right? So I meet Rob.
I like them.
Yes. Wow. So you
You wait till I tell you about what we did to the fifth graders this week.
oh jeez.
Go ahead.
So anyways, I meet Rob's wife last night, and I've heard a lot about her. She's like an executive. She's a businesswoman. I'm thinking like businesswoman, high heels dress, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Businesswoman.
You watch too much TV.
Yeah, you've got to
That's
make some
probably true.
caricature on-
No, dude. She I meet her, and I'm like, wow, not what I expected. More military, clean cut, and then I hear her talking how she would kick our you know what in pistol shooting. So there's just another person to add to the competition.
Yeah.
And then we are talking earlier, and he's like, oh yeah, my nieces probably could outshoot us too, who are 10 and 14.
Well,
I'm
that's
like,
what they said. So I drove with them to the graduation last night.
Yep.
And we played in the beginning episode where Tim said hi. You gave a shout out to Abby and Tess. And then right after that, we started talking about the range. And then the girls were, oh, we could probably beat you too. And then Tina was cracking jokes on me. She was a military police officer.
Handy with a steel.
She was a West Pointer, so she doesn't.
Wow, what is it with
mess
y'all?
around.
she would make a good new principal at the school.
Did
Probably
they
doesn't pay very well, but I mean,
did they meet at West Point?
They did. They were seniors when they started. Well, I don't think they started dating until right at the end or right after graduation.
Is he older than you?
He's 4 years older than me.
Okay.
he's 50.
Yes.
He's 50. Just want to point that out. Makes you feel better, right?
It does.
Younger.
It makes me feel better.
50.
He was in the
still-
Ranger Battalion, though. You said.
No, he wasn't in the Ranger Battalion, but he was a Ranger. He
Okay.
wanted to go to the Ranger Battalion. So I love Fort Hood and First Cav. That's my favorite. And he loathes
'Cause
it.
it's Texas.
Right. Well, it's Texas, and then at the end of the parades, they still have a cavalry charge with a wagon, the dog barking. They fire their pistols off. It's really cool. And so for me, how much I love Texas, that was awesome. And Zeta got to not participate, but she got to see it. And there's a picture in the house where she's in front of the cavalry. After they do the charge, they come back up for the audience that's watching the parades. And so she got a picture taken in front of all the horses lined up. And it was a good memory for her. And I liked it because we didn't run as much. So I was a battalion commander in 25th
Dude, you're a
IB.
runner, dog.
I know I was in high school, and then when I hit my hip flexor, I hated running after that. So we both were in 25th ID. He was in 25th ID as a captain and a major, and I was there as a battalion commander. I was in.
You outranked your brother.
Yeah, I still do because I retired and got to keep my retired rank, and he got out as a major. He was below the zone. He was rocking it, and. Tina had gotten out, and so she was rocking it in the civilian world with pay that,
Yeah.
obviously. And so he went and he got his doctorate from Columbia, and he's an executive coach now. So he goes around and interviews an executive and his team and figures out the psychological component so that the executive can understand themselves better so that they can lead the organization.
Yeah. Do you have his business card?
You can't afford him, Chief.
But we're going to play golf together, so I'm going
That's
to.
true.
He and I are going to be in the same golf cart. I'm just going to play 18 holes of golf, and I'm going to.
Oh,
he's going to give me a lesson for 18 holes, and I'm not going to have to pay anything for it. Does he drink beer?
He does.
I'll just pump him full of beer the whole time, and then.
Spill his guts, tell you everything.
Yeah, exactly. Truth serum.
It's funny, he's a psychologist, but I'm always the one analyzing you too. And
Yeah, he rode in the car with us, and like when we were just 25 minutes or not total, because the range is a 10-minute drive from here.
Yeah.
And after the drive, Tim, what'd you say? He said, "Yeah, I just do things for fun." He's like, "You guys are always trying to be your best at whatever it is, and like I'm doing this for fun, and you guys are supposed to be doing it for." As
Dude,
well.
David,
I don't. So that I'm totally in lockstep with you on that. Like, I do things and have fun, but it's.
no, Chief, they would go, if you could shoot a 360 as the highest, they would shoot a 359 and be like, man, I left that one point on there, where I would be like, dude, I shot a 300 today.
No,
Yeah.
that's me. That's me.
Yeah, we replay
like the three of
everything.
you.
Like,
Yeah.
what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
I sneezed. This guy's round hit me on that shot. You know, like
That's how I am.
I flinched
Like if
and
when
I
I was in
shouldn't have
school,
flinched.
if I got like a 97 on a paper, I'd get upset. I'd be like, "Where's the other 3 points? You take the 3 points off for what reason? Like,
Right.
just cause? You know? Like yeah.
to keep you in
Too
check.
much pressure on yourselves. You
No,
gotta,
but
like,
it's dude, it pushes the envelope, man. It makes humanity better that you have people that are gonna like keep pressing like that. Don't settle. What's the law of entropy, right? Like if you're not going forward, you're going backwards.
Yeah, I mean, but you set high standards for yourself on some things, but your point was that we do it with everything,
yeah, you
Full
could,
send.
right?
Yeah.
no matter what. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
It could be
But that's not
who
true
made a
for
better
me.
sandwich.
So when we did the 100-mile wilderness,
I love that.
That's
We're gonna make a
actually-
peanut butter and jelly sandwich for time.
Contest.
For time.
like when we did the 100-mile wilderness, because that's what he wanted to do. He had a sabbatical from his previous job. Like now he works for himself. He's a self-employed contractor.
Yeah, it's a full time sabbatical.
Right. Yeah. So he's been on a full-time one for a year and a half.
Kind of like
He had
the two of y'all.
Right. And so he said, we're going to walk our way into shape. And so once he said that to me, as the younger brother, I'm like, oh, so I don't have to go out and jog. I don't have to go carry around a backpack.
Don't ever use
And
that word in front of me again. We don't ever use the J word.
Jogging?
No, it's
Not
running.
quite.
You walk or you run.
Well,
Yeah, Steve, that's what I do. Walk or run. There's no in
Yeah, that's
between.
So anyway, so we're doing it. And I showed up way heavier than I even am now because I just retired and said, I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to do what I want to do. And so I put on a lot of weight. And we start walking. And then this girls' camp that was also doing it ended up passing us up. And that ticked him off. And then, so he was getting mad because he wanted to go out there and like get to our rest zone as quick as he could, whereas I wanted to enjoy the sights. There's a beautiful waterfall. Can we stop here, take some pictures, get our feet wet, enjoy the walk or the hike? And
He's looking at you like I'm talking to him right now.
Yeah.
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 but that was my expectation of it. So we had two different expectations, whereas I wanted to go out and enjoy 100 miles, hanging out with my brother, talking, enjoying the scenery, and he wanted to go and get it as done as fast as possible, say he did it, and move on to whatever his next
Yeah, I'm
goal
right with him.
was.
So a bunch of years ago, Jess and I hiked up Mount Washington, and I can't remember what trail we took up. It doesn't matter. But once we got up above tree line, have you hiked Mount Washington before?
I have. I was
Yeah.
like 12, but I've done it.
So once we got above tree line, it becomes like it's like a rock pile, and we are making our way up, and she stops, and I'm like, "What are we doing? We're taking a rest. Why are we taking a rest?" And she's like, "Well, that's what people do when they go hiking. That's not what we do. We make it. We go all the way to the top. When you get to the top, you can take a rest, And
That's how my brother is. So
she was,
if he does the 100-mile wilderness, I'll have him call you up.
yeah.
But I have a question.
Go.
Did you take a rest?
I did, yeah.
You know why?
Yeah, because she's my wife, and
Smart man.
yeah. But she's right. Like at the end of the day, and you're probably right too. You probably should, to some degree, stop and look around and enjoy your scenery and your safe space. And
Here's my
yeah,
here's
You
my
know,
feeling though. Like You guys are so competitive that I feel like you don't enjoy what you're doing.
No, I enjoy it.
Because you're constantly like, okay,
No,
done
no.
better. I'm like, dude, this was just fun. Like, it was so much fun last time we went shooting, which we didn't go yesterday because of graduation, so I think we can make it up next week, supposedly. But, like, it's supposed to be fun, and yeah, we want to get better. Like, I shot better this last time.
Sorry about that.
Well, it's all right, you know. You are the police.
No, I totally understand what you're saying, but I don't feel that way. I have more fun if I press and press and press, and you know, I can taste blood in my throat, and I throw up at the end. Like, then when I look back on it, I'm like, yeah, man, yeah. So here's not funny, but true story. So in January, when I ran the Houston Marathon, I ran my fastest time of my life by 6 minutes, and race ended, and we had a pretty nasty storm coming to the northeast a day later, so we ended up upping our flight. So we left Texas that day and flew home that day, which if you ever decide to run a marathon, don't fly the same day because it's pretty terrible to sit on an airplane afterwards. But so we had a little bit of time between when we got to the airport in Houston and when we actually flew out, and so we were eating lunch, and I was just sitting there, and dude, I was like all the endorphins were just like flowing through because it was just a good moment, right? And I said to my wife, I was like, dude, if this plane falls out of the sky and we die, I'm going to die happy, you know? And she's like,
but she was happy about that.
I was like, she's like, stop talking. But you know, if I had gone there and I had jogged and like enjoyed, you know, oh, look at the skyline of Houston, this is so pretty. Like, I would have hated myself. The amount of salt, I'd still be loathing in that, you know?
So what did you do to the fifth graders, by the way?
Kickball. So they had their fourth and fifth grade had their field day on Tuesday, yeah. And the fifth graders play the faculty. And so for the last 2 years, Mr. Cherry has invited the PD and the fire department to participate in the game. The fire department was a little busy. They couldn't participate, so we had 3 of us played from the PD. Crushed them. Absolutely crushed them. And here's the other thing, though. So the people that went from the PD were like, what's the deal? You know, do we, you know, take a little bit off? You know what I mean? Like, are we just pitching change-ups here, you know, sort of metaphorically? I'm like, no. Full send. Like,
knock them out of the base.
Absolutely. Yeah, like if you get it, like full send.
That's good.
You know, life is about winning and losing.
It is.
It's not about everyone getting a trophy. And we have to teach them that before they get up to the next grade level.
I'm with you. I believe.
And so mom and dad all those black eyes just because Wilmot taught them that.
Yeah. And Mr. Cherry's awesome about it. He's like, you're out of here. Sit down. You know, it's all in fun. It's all in fun. We're not bullying them, but we're also not going to, you know, we're not giving it away either. Yeah. You know, that devalues, like, not only does the winner not feel as good about winning, and I'm not talking about, you know, adults crushing fifth graders in kickball, but I'm talking about just like the whole practice of like everybody gets a medal. It devalues the person that wins, but it also like the people that are actually getting the medal that didn't win don't feel good about it because they know they didn't win. So
they shouldn't. Zeta had an instance like that in the fourth grade. It was read so many books and you get a pizza party in the spring.
Yeah.
So her and 4 or 5 other kids read the actual books. And when it came down to the pizza party, they let the whole class out of the pizza and movie party. So then Zeta was like, why did I waste my time doing this?
Because, Zeta, you didn't waste your time. You put that knowledge up here.
Well,
and you know in here that you did the work and you won.
Yeah, because
it
made her angry.
Oh, yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
Reap the benefits of what she thought was her reward.
How's Ayn Rand? Are you done?
No, I was just telling Tim earlier that I gave up on it.
What?
I failed as a father.
Dude, come on. That's a little melodramatic, isn't it?
But, like, that was our goal and our challenge, and she read further than I did, and it just got to a point to where it was brutal.
Yeah, it is brutal.
It was just
That's hard. That's a
Well, once I fell behind a little bit and trying to catch up and then trying to keep up because, you know, it's written from a different era. So I failed. I should have just read the Cliff Notes and acted like I finished it, but then I wouldn't feel like a winner.
Do you feel like a winner because you just quit altogether.
No, I don't. I mean, but I feel less,
Not as much like a
yeah,
loser.
Yeah, not as much.
You're only like a little bit of a
little bit
loser.
of a loser.
It's like that. What was the band that played Loser?
You're a loser, baby.
I'm a loser. No,
Why
it
don't
was
you kill me? Was that a
back in the late '90s. It'll come to me in a moment. They also sang Superman.
Oh,
I think it's one word. Stand by. It's a good song.
Superman.
Is that I'm a loser, baby? So why don't you kill me? Is that the song you're talking
No, not. You're thinking about Beck.
about?
Yeah. Okay. That's. I thought it was.
That's not right.
Now I'm gonna have to know. We can't continue until we.
Yeah,
find
no,
this out,
it'll be.
'cause
I'll have it here in 2 seconds.
I
See,
can't. It's not Nickelback. No.
No.
Three Doors Down.
Three Doors Down.
So it's not one word.
Three
It's one
words.
word.
3 doors down.
Oh, you're talking. No, loser is one word.
Oh, yeah. Are you calling me a loser for not finishing Ayn Rand? I am
No,
a
no,
loser
no.
for it.
Is
That's
this
why
where
I-
it is?
No.
See how smart he is? He like pulled this whole like, oh, yeah, I know the song in my head that makes Steve a loser because he didn't finish the book.
No, you're a winner.
You started.
Not with that, you're
not.
not.
With that, I'm not.
But you went to West Point.
Yeah,
That makes you a winner in my book, Steve.
but that was 20.
When God made you, He threw out the mold.
He made me. He was like, "Oops."
That's a mistake.
Good luck.
Yeah, course correct.
Almost said something I shouldn't have. I have a question.
Send it.
Did you tell your officers to not show me the courtesy that other people are shown?
I never said that. But why do you ask?
No, I'm just giving her a hard time.
Yeah.
So yesterday at graduation, we're leaving, and Officer Stark was out directing traffic and letting people go across. So Lydia, who's still in her boot and crutches, went by, and then I got closer, but I waited for Andrew and the baby, who were a little bit behind, and she comes across the road, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, you're not gonna stop traffic for me?" She just smiles. I was like, "Did the chief tell you not to like stop traffic for me or something?"
Take out Tim. See, that's one slot for Rob or Chief to fill.
That's true. See,
Take you
there's
out.
a deeper motive here.
Because this is Chief and Rob's dream is to sit
Sit upstairs and some in some creepy garage on.
It's not creepy.
No, I'm just kidding. I do think that running water in here, you could make this thing into a nice crib.
You do that, the wife's going to rent this out, and then we're going to have to be in the actual garage.
What's wrong with that? It's kind of manly. Instead of chairs, we can sit on tractors.
Listen, Chief,
I'm
we'll
not
set
gonna-
this up in your office.
What'd you
no.
say, Steve? I missed that.
I have to get a real tractor. I have a lawn tractor.
I have a real
My brother
tractor.
calls it a lawnmower. You do. You took it out of the yard though, so
Yeah, now it's at my uncle's. I still have to roadkill his lawn or his garden. It's been there for 3 or 4 days
and the
now.
moon phase is waning here.
Yeah.
Waxing. You better.
The waxing moon?
I think so.
What is
But
it?
anyways, I was just joking
Yeah.
about,
My procrastinating way because I didn't make the frost date for planting my seedlings and seeds. Now I'm doing the moon date because you can go either by the moon date or the frost date. The frost date's a little early.
What are you planting?
Everything, just about.
Really? How does everything come packaged?
Uh,
Is it just a little package that says everything on it, or
Well, it's seed. So yesterday I got all the winter and some summer squash planted in the back section. That's going to be
Back 40.
so it can vine out and grow because there's still some grass where I have it fenced in. I don't know if you noticed that. And then I planted giant pumpkins to see if I can get one of those 250 to 400 pound pumpkins. Just because I think it'd be cool.
what? So I gotta pause here for a second. Where did this sort of fire for gardening come in?
When I was a kid, I always wanted to live in Texas on a ranch that had my own pond, just like my papa. My grandfather, step-grandfather, had a 60, 80 acre farm where he had a garden. He had 20, 40 head of cattle, depending on the season, year.
Doesn't seem like enough land for that many cattle.
Yeah.
Was
Well,
it?
it was. I think it started off as 100 acres, and I think he sold 20 to his buddy. And it might be inflated with when he had calves.
Was it
Yeah.
kind of like right out of the Yellowstone TV show?
No, it was in the back 40. Well, now it's all grown. Houston has expanded out to where I live is no longer really, I wouldn't even hardly consider it much of a suburb because traffic is like 45 minutes to get to a grocery store.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting kind of busy. But anyway, so I just love spending my summers up there, riding horses and feeding the cows, fishing,
Yeah.
hunting squirrels and duck and all that good stuff. It was just fun, and that's what I wanted when I got older, was to have my own plot of land where if I had to, I could go fish, I could grow my own crops, and I don't have any animals, but
Do you have water here for fishing?
yeah, I have a pond.
You do?
Mhm.
No kidding.
It's hidden on that trail that's right next to the
No
garage.
distractions.
Is there
Somewhere.
fish in it?
Shh. No.
Possibly.
Oh, that's right. How do I not know this? I think I'm suffering from early onset something because we've had this discussion about how you guys have stocked.
Yeah. We're using this heavy committed Alzheimer's patient.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was just my dream, and when I retired, and Nikki became the breadwinner because she still has to pay for her 2 college degrees. The undergraduate degree might be about paid off, but she still has her master's that she has to pay for.
Yep.
So anyway, so she's working, so she found the job here, and so that's why we moved out here, because my brother has his second home here in New London.
Yeah.
And so we'd be close to him. We're kind of close to my in-laws. Unfortunately, we're far away from my family in Texas, and they're suffering by not being able to see me all the time.
They do now on the show.
I got to tell you, man. Like, so when the show's a wrap for us, and then I have to wait another, 6 days and 364 hours to see you again. I can definitely feel the suffering. Like, it starts to peak, and then when I get here, I feel
At
better.
ease,
Better
calmer,
again.
you're-
Yeah,
He gets it.
yeah.
Well, that's my role in the family, is I absorb everybody's.
You're like the
negative.
wise old owl.
I don't know if I'm wise. I think I just sit there and
They come to you for counsel, Steve.
they do.
Yeah.
And so I absorb it all, and then I'm stuck with it. So it's nice to be able to go ride around the lawnmower for 4 or 5, 6 hours and break it.
You listen to tunes when you're on the
I
mower?
do. I
yeah.
have like headphones like these. Nikki and Zeta make fun of me. I guess they take pictures of me or video where I'm bouncing around sideways.
Yeah, they say
I don't-
pejorative things about you.
Yeah.
Like, look at the old man out there with those stupid things out there.
And then I yell because I can't hear because they're noise canceling. And so when I turn it off and they're trying to talk to me, I scream at a loud volume. Just old man stuff, I guess, even though I'm only 40 something.
46, it sounds like, if your
Close.
brother's 50.
Close. Not quite. Couple, 4 weeks.
What day is it?
The 29th.
Not even.
Really?
Today's the 9th.
Yeah, 20 days. So less than 3 weeks, I'll be 46.
Then officially you're in your late 40s.
No, I'm still in my mid.
Really?
46 is mid.
You think?
44 to 46 is mid. No?
The young man over here still in his 30s, yeah.
Yeah, no, but
Hey, we got time to
39.
go get you a third place trophy and an 8K.
That's true if I hurry.
Literally.
Exactly.
If you can run like you did through the bridge.
So,
Yeah, we were running like 450 pace or something.
Yeah.
Sure.
435 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was pretty
I
good.
mean, if you legitimately, like, if you could run 430 or 440 pace for 8K, you'd win all of them around here.
Yeah. If I could fly, I'd be Superman too, but,
Yeah.
It just takes practice.
I feel like you've trimmed your goatee. That might help lift off a little bit.
Did you trim it?
Just a little bit. Rob noticed. Rob was like, "Oh, what'd you do there?" And I'm like, "Because of like curls in it."
It was definitely
Yeah,
curling.
Trying to
yeah. Starting to look like a duck's behind.
That's what I was going for.
Ducktail.
Yeah.
You don't have nearly as much white in yours as Steve does.
I'm getting the skunk.
Like 10 years older than me, so
Thank you.
you're welcome. So did you hear about Cheshire Medical Center
I did.
misplacing 7.5 gallons of fentanyl?
So I don't know anything about the story. I just heard that there's missing fentanyl and that other hospitals in our area are starting to open the discussion about like we need to like look at our own practices to make sure that this doesn't happen.
Why would they? I mean, I know you don't know the answer.
I
I'm
literally
always
don't know
like, why do
anything
they
about
have
the story.
7.5 gallons of fentanyl sitting around. That's enough to kill.
Yeah,
lot of
I don't
people.
I don't know as though it was taken all at one time, was it?
No. It was over a period of time, but that wasn't a huge period of time. I think it was like 6 months or something. But 7.5 gallons is a lot. Like,
Well, it goes back to what we always say: don't use drugs.
Unless you're in New York City safely, then you do so. That's
You
true.
do, as long as you go off slow and have a friend with you, don't be ashamed. Feel empowered.
Yes. Only in New York City,
Only
though.
in New York City.
We don't advocate that use in New Hampshire. We actually care about people.
Yet.
I do not
I mean,
advocate
we
for
don't.
the use of
I'm
drugs.
just saying, yeah, neither do we.
All right, I know you have this answer. Son asked me the other day, and I said, I'll see the chief on Thursday, and I'll ask him this question. It's actually a serious question.
Okay.
So he wants to know, I don't know why he'd want to be a crooked FBI agent, but how to become an FBI agent. And I said, well, I know you have to have a criminal science or criminal justice degree, right?
No.
In
In fact,
Lawyer, you could be an
in fact, you're
accountant.
probably better off not having a
Right.
criminal justice degree.
Really?
Yeah, so I think if I wanted to get into the FBI, I would study either law or accounting or foreign language. I would absolutely positively make sure I had spent a bid in the military. Because, again, federal jobs, if you are in the military, you get a certain number of
Points.
essentially, bonus points. You have to do things to set yourself apart because you're going to be up against a bunch of people that have criminal justice degrees and bachelor's degrees and whatever else. So you have to set yourself apart somehow. So like let's say you have a degree in accounting, or a master's degree in accounting or something like that. I would try to know a foreign language, whether it be Russian or some language of one of our adversaries. Again, something to set yourself apart. I would spend some time in the military. I would probably try to be careful about the MOS I chose. I don't know. I think being in the infantry is awesome, but again, if my goal is to go in the FBI, I would try to do something that would help in that regard.
See, glad I asked him because all the advice I gave him.
Well, you can. You can go to the website because I looked at it a few times when I was younger. When I was thinking,
Because you end up going to Quantico, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, a lot of times people will start as like an analyst, so they won't actually start as an agent. They'll go to Quantico for analyst training, and then they'll work for the FBI for a little while, but not as an FBI, like an armed law enforcement officer as an agent, and then they'll do that for a while, and then they will transfer over to becoming an agent. So,
I'll tell him.
you got to be truthful. Try not to get in trouble. That kind of stuff.
Well, he said to me, he's like, well, what if I went to West Point and then get in that way? And I said, well, you're already screwed because you're a freshman and your grades suck. So,
Well, he can bring it up. He can have to score well on his test, probably.
but then you need a letter from a congressperson, right?
you do.
You do.
Yeah,
But again, the other
from
thing
our
is,
state, or
Yeah.
and what have I done on this show talking about congresspeople?
Said they're all worthless.
Thanks. Steve.
yeah, but so the other thing, to be quite frank, like I actually had this conversation with my own kid because when he was going into high school, we actually went and hiked a mountain one day, and it was right before his freshman year started, and I said, my goal had been to go to West Point when I was a kid, but I didn't have, I didn't get good enough grades. Graduating from Stevens, I didn't get good enough grades at the time, so I ended up going to a private military school. And so I said to him, if I were you, if I could do it all over again, the one thing I would change is I would study nonstop. I would have a 4.0 grade point average. I'd play 3 sports, and then I would do a bunch of weird extracurricular activities that set me apart.
Student council.
President. Yeah.
National
Weird,
Honor Society.
yeah, and weird things too. Like, because I think all of that stuff, everybody does all of that stuff. I don't know. I'd find something that just set me apart in a different way somehow. I don't know what that would be, but I would find something that was just a little bit different.
Start a club that goes and visits the retirement homes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all kinds of.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. He could come ask me. I actually went through the training of how to recruit people for West Point.
Well, I shot him down already, so
No, he can
I'll send him
recover
right
from
over.
that. He just has to speak up, be a positive role model,
He's
do
pretty
what
good there.
Chief was saying, excel. Try to become a captain of the sports teams.
right.
Set yourself up as a leader, so that And then the teachers write about you as well, so you have to get referrals from administration, teachers, people from the community. But he can do it, even though he's a freshman. He would have to work hard, keeping.
That has to become like a full-time job, right?
Yeah. So, like, because they put me in algebra, I ended up having to teach myself algebra 2 so I could get back on track to take calculus my senior year. You know what I mean? Like, I took all honors courses. Like, so when they were talking about the AP, so like Zeta took just about every AP class that they had here, whereas not everybody did that. But like, that was ingrained in me, and I think it made me smarter. So I was like, you need to take all the AP courses you can. And so, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, though.
Yeah, don't settle.
She has a parent teaching her and guiding her along with the teachers that are going to help her. It can't just be the teachers. Like, they have to have you and Andrea have to pushing, because it takes that. Because sometimes we all get a little, except for Chief, we all get a little lazy and just want to walk up a mountain and relax.
Yeah, we all do that.
And
right?
But to get in there, though, that's why I don't feel guilty about being 40-something and being retired and not really having
a job. No, you shouldn't feel guilty about that.
Because this is my job. It's like takes up all my day most days.
Well, the other thing is it's probably exhausting to have all of your minions coming to you and sharing with you their problems, and you having to dispense this wisdom to them on a regular basis. That's got to be tiring, right?
It's tiring, and then when you go home, and then
you wear those big hats, and you've got to just give them all this information,
Yeah, I mean, people look to you. You know what I mean? So like, you have to be prepared, because I think I have switched over to being an introvert mostly after my facial paralysis, because it was, it's a shock to go from this image of yourself, and then you look in the mirror and you're like, why isn't my eye moving? And it was really bad when it first happened. I looked like a Picasso painting. It was like, and then I was a company commander, so I had to stand in front of people. I had to swear people in from 2 feet away, and I'm like, I know they're probably very uncomfortable staring at because it was bad for like 6 months.
Does it get better over time?
No, it gets better usually within a year. If it doesn't get better, then it's not going to get better. But being on camera, I noticed that if I focus on it when the TV's on, I can kind of make this eye not close as much. So it's actually kind of helping me to retrain, because what happened was it was so long. And I went to a physical therapist about it, one of the top ones. She actually happened to be in St. Louis. And she taught me all these exercises to do, but the problem is you start overcompensating, and so these muscles get stronger. So that's why this eye, I was always looking very wide open, because I'm trying to open this eye, and it opens this one even wider because these muscles don't work. In case you were wondering about the physiology of my facial muscles and my
I hang around
scalp.
you enough, I don't even notice. So
I appreciate that, but when you're in the Army or when you're around kids, the generals and kids and drunk people will be like, "What's wrong with your face?" That's like the first thing out of their mouth. And so, while Nikki and you are nice and kind, like, I don't even notice it whenever you meet new people who don't have a filter or don't care to have a filter.
then you need to make a story up.
Yeah. Oh, I was in a cage fight, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Back when I was in the Army, on the weekends, I had to get, a side hustle. So I got into a little ultimate fighting, and
Took a kick to the neck.
Yeah, I took a kick to the
nerve.
neck, and, I was starting to, sort of gray out a little bit, but I was able to get him in some sort of a chokehold, and,
See where we're going with this?
Hey, I get it. But
Or you could even go, because you were in the Army, during the time of war, so you could turn it into something like that.
Yeah, but then I'd be a liar.
I mean, the whole thing is a
We
lie.
can't prove it. I don't know what you did in Iraq. I mean, how are we going to prove it? There's no video.
Well, okay, so how about this? If that makes you feel bad, because you probably had friends and colleagues with whom you served that never came home from Iraq, so don't use Iraq. Say that the Army sent you to some former Soviet gulag camp or something like that for some secret mission.
security training.
Yeah, and you got some sort of gas poisoning or something that was left over from the 40s, or
I like that. That can work.
Like they sent you in to assassinate Putin, but you got the gas on you or something. Or
I touched my own neck. And
you're like, oh, no.
That was like the ricin attack in London back in the day. You got hit with an umbrella, right?
But the nerve it comes like through your ear right here, so I can feel it every once in a while. It'll start twitching, and the nerves that aren't firing properly, they'll still twitch every once in a while. So they're still alive. It's just I have to retrain myself to focus and not to where I don't have to focus on it anymore. But being on the show helps me when the TV works and we can see ourselves on the screen.
So maybe the VA would sponsor us.
No.
One other question.
I do think before we go too far afield, I don't want to keep talking about your face, but you were talking about like getting into West Point, but going back to the beginning of the show when we were talking about like being competitive, like that's what that. Right. I feel like you can't be somebody that just like rests.
Yeah,
you have to have that drive
all the time.
Yeah,
it's all Type A with maybe a few that got 1600s in their SATs, and you're like, why are you here? But everybody else is wanting to be the best at every single thing that they do.
Always.
Always, with anything that it is, which probably makes sense with me, Rob, and Tina. But
I guess that would make sense, yeah.
But I am also the kind of guy that, like, at the end of the day is like, whatever, you guys go be the best, and then I'll just fix whatever at the end, whenever I'm the guy in charge of turning it in.
Yeah, it's just when you and your brother get together is when the real competitiveness comes out. When it's just me and you, it's not that. I mean, maybe because you just automatically know, like, I can beat this guy, no problem.
I don't think that. I put that behind me. I'm trying to like move forward and relax and then garden and fish and mow.
Life is better though when you aren't constantly comparing yourself to everyone else as I've gotten older, I've realized that like it doesn't matter how much of a badass you think you are. There's always somebody badder. There's always somebody bigger. And you don't have to look far to find them. You know what I mean? So if you compare yourself to yesterday, who you were yesterday, I find that to be a better benchmark than to compare yourself to somebody else today. But I'm still a competitive dude when I'm around other competitive dudes who are like, all right, dude, buckle in.
Well, it pushes you, right?
Yeah.
You'll get your best performance maybe, but Emilio can't be late to school, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's why everything you've described doesn't describe him.
But if he hears it, maybe if he really wants to do
he's got it in him
he'll
for
have
sure.
to change. Yeah, I know he has it in him.
I mean, he's a kid that's a freshman that played varsity baseball, varsity football. Like, he's good. It's just he needs to, like I said, he's talked about being a professional football player before. I'm like, I'm not saying you can't do it, but you need to, like, 365 days a year, man.
Yeah, those guys always have a football.
There's no eating junk.
The guys who make it are the ones who either are pushed from their parents or a coach or internally, and usually it's the ones who are internally because they'll last longer, right? Because if you're doing it for someone else, you'll peter out. But if you have an internal desire, you got to know that it takes hard work, dedication. You can't care what anybody else is doing, but you got to make sure that you're meeting all the goals and steps along the way, and you got to track it and make sure that, all right, I need to be. I haven't been like I was vice president of student council, so my senior year. I was like, I need to be president of at least the student body, right, to show growth, like those kinds of things that most 15 to 18-year-old kids aren't thinking about unless they have a goal like that where they understand that this is what it needs to be.
And the other thing, I think, this is the thing that sucks about professional sports, but like you have to be born with a certain body. There's no way around that. Like you aren't going to be, unless you're Doug Flutie and you're one in a lifetime, you're not going to be a 5'10" quarterback in the NFL because you can't throw the ball over your lineman, right? So you're going to have to be 6'4", 6'5", and you have no control over your parents. You have to have, exceptional gifts from God in order to like even start, right? That's what I think is so cool about professional sports, is that they are naturally gifted. Most all of them. Most all of them work very, very, very hard. They have that internal drive, that competitiveness. And generally speaking, they have people that have invested in them. And then again, depending on the sport, like if you're a hockey player or most sports, you're going to come from some level of financial advantage because somebody has to invest in you a lot for a long time,
Right.
and
Like
you
now
know,
they have all the club sports that
Yeah.
mean more in some sports than high school sports. Like this.
I mean, you think about like baseball players, right? Like, you know, we have in our house, we have now only one, but my stepson plays baseball on the varsity team, and they're playing baseball all year long. And so you're driving to, you know, like Concord in the wintertime because they're playing indoors. They're playing fall leagues, summer leagues. You know, obviously baseball around here is in the spring, summer. You know, it's a commitment. You know.
Yeah, I was talking about Zoe Lord, who I don't know if you know Zoe, but she incredible pitcher, softball. You know, eighth grade, can throw like 68. Which I watched the World Series last night for college, Oklahoma versus Texas, and those girls are throwing 68 miles per hour. Like, it's been incredible. But I guess now every other weekend she's playing in New Jersey, so obviously her parents are heavily invested in her future, and so it takes a lot of commitment from a parent or parents, the student, the person trying to do it. Like,
And luck too, I think, to some degree, right? Because think about, you know, baseball or softball. If you're throwing 68 miles an hour in the 8th grade and you're putting all that torque on all your tendons and all your joints and all that stuff, you know, as your body is still developing, like, you could very easily sustain a career-ending injury in high school and you're done.
Yeah.
You know, or you know, you go to a school and they overplay you, and now they just like burn you out. So like,
That happened in Texas when I was in high school.
I think it happens all the time. Because I think you have these athletes that are like superstars, and you get a coach. You know, sometimes I'm just sort of making the scenario up, but you get a coach, you're like, oh wow, look at Tim. He's a superstar pitcher, right? He can throw, you know, 89 miles an hour, you know, in his freshman year, and he's got a good hook on a curveball, and they pitch you and pitch you and pitch you and pitch you, and yeah, you win a lot of games in high school, but at the end of the day, like, the development of Tim long term is not in their is not in their vision, so they don't care, and they just throw your arm out, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely, and then like, you look at all the stars that are in professional sports, and then you think about all the ones that didn't make it because of a knee injury or something that took it out, and it's tough, and it's a lot of luck. I think you're right about that.
Well, the last time you were here, you told us about Kobe, right?
Kobe Bryant,
going and shooting thousands and thousands because he shot those 3.
He was he was crazy. Like
that's you hear that quite about the professional athletes that are at the top of even their game, and so that's what you have to emulate. And I do want to clarify the story I was
Go
telling,
Celtics, by the way.
where I was the vice president needing to be president. My good friend, who I'm still friends with, would have beat me for class president our senior year if I would end up running against him. But because he knew that I was trying to get this West Point thing, he was like, hey, man, I want to run for vice president. So really, I possibly could owe my West Point career to Jared, because Jared ran
That's
for
pretty
vice
slick.
president and was, you know, because I was going to be I was going to run for vice president when it was signed up. And we had a discussion, and he was like, dude, do it, man. Let's just switch it, and because we're both going to win. But I wouldn't have, like, if I would have ran against him for president, I wouldn't have won because he was.
What did he have that you didn't have?
Well, he was the quarterback of the football team.
Oh,
I was the captain of the
biceps.
golf team. You know.
Yeah, and you were a runner with a blown out hip. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, you were washed out in high school.
Yeah, I was washed out. You never know what help I could get. And it's having good friends like that too, though. You know what I mean? Like, it takes relationships, and you have to build relationships like that through life. But
absolutely,
and I've never forgotten that Jared and when we had that conversation, he was like, "Yeah, let's just switch it, man."
You ever think about that, like how you know, things in your life would be just a little bit different if somebody hadn't like come into your life at a certain time, or like something hadn't happened like at a certain moment, and like it could have changed the entire like arc of your life? Yeah. I have stories like that. Like,
I mean, we met each other. He was one of the first guys I met when we moved, because I was in 3rd grade when we moved to the town that I ended up graduating from high school. He's one of the first kids I met, and I mean, we've been good friends.
Did you challenge him to something competitively? Like, hey, dude.
Well, we
draw a line in the sand.
We played pool volleyball, me and Zeta versus him and his son. And his son was probably he's going into 9th grade, so he's 4 years younger than Zeta. And Zeta has got the Morris competitiveness.
That a girl.
And she like spiked the ball and was talking trash, and Jared got mad. And I'm like, we're just having fun, man, because he's not used to that type of competitiveness. Because Zeta would go to all the Army intramurals, because you still play sports throughout most of us, like in the Army, even
Yeah.
30 some odd years old.
Yeah, volleyball mostly, right?
Well, I played
or is that a
volleyball.
Navy thing?
That's a Navy thing. But we played volleyball, we played golf, we had a football team. I didn't play football. I played soccer. We had a soccer team. I wasn't very good.
Have you guys seen Top Gun 2?
We haven't seen it yet. No, we keep talking about
You're
it.
killing me. I've watched it twice.
You see it twice?
Yeah, we're going to go watch it again this weekend. So, yeah, the first time I watched it with my best friend and our wives, and then last weekend we went with the kids, and this weekend we're going with my parents. I think it's the best movie I've ever seen. But they play dogfight football in Top Gun 2 and not volleyball. So dogfight football is offense, defense at the same time.
We'll have to check this movie
Yeah,
out.
you got to watch the movie, man.
I mean, he raves about it. He's seen it twice. He's going to see it a third time.
Third time, yeah.
Jared was going to go see it, and I had told him a couple things, and he was like, "Well, just run it for me." You know, from hearing, maybe I didn't hear it from you, but
You heard things that were not good?
no, not that they weren't good, but just that I had said, well, you know, there's some characters in there, and he was like, "Oh, okay, so the female pilot's going to come in and save the day," and I was like, "I didn't say that. I just said that." You know, there's some characters that are developed more than others, and then he kind of got mad at me, and we stopped talking about Top Gun.
The most developed character in that movie
Is Maverick?
is Maverick.
Yeah, and that's what I told
And
him.
he
I was
is
like, Maverick.
absolutely stunning in the movie. Like, he is a complete, like, man's man. Like, he flies that plane better. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Didn't I see something that doesn't Tom Cruise actually fly?
Yes.
He's actually a pilot, so
Yeah.
it makes it
That's
even
pretty
that
cool.
much more realistic.
Yeah,
Because
I read a bunch of stuff about, like, you know, interviews with the cast, and they were talking about, like, he came up with, like, a flight training program for the whole crew, and you know, they did some ground training, then they did some training in, like, Cessnas, and then they ultimately did a lot of filming in F-18s, and there was something like they did some filming and they got done with the filming, and he has a private jet, and so he flew a bunch of them back to, like, LA afterwards, and he got off the plane, like, didn't say a word, hopped on a motorcycle and just gone. And they're like, yeah, he's that bad, you know, he's that badass.
there was a guy that went to my high school that actually was one of the stunt pilots for Top Gun, and he was a substitute teacher for my physics class my junior or senior year.
Yeah.
Do you know Brandy Black? And
So it's always
Yeah.
cool when I watch Top Gun.
Do you see-
one,
do you know her
see
brother?
His name. I'm done, I guess, telling that story.
Hey, I'll forget
This is when you have to apologize to him that the middle of your story interrupted the beginning of his.
I'm going to forget this.
They called me the one-upper for a reason, Tim.
The one-upper.
All right, so I don't know Brandy's brother. Maybe I do. What's his last name?
I don't know. But, yeah, I'm not sure. But anyways, the only reason I'm saying this because I saw on her Facebook the other day, it's his birthday, and he looks just like freaking Tom Cruise in Top Gun. I'm like, maybe he's like a stunt, like a double or something. Like, straight up, I'll have to show you after. So I'm like, maybe he is. He was wearing like a Maverick jumpsuit thing at one point too, which could have just been for fun, and I don't know.
Halloween costume.
But straight up, he looks. I'll show you. You'll see.
Tex Spence was the guy's name anyway. That was the Tex, I think, was his call sign maybe.
Because he's from Texas?
Yeah.
You guys have this, like, culture from Texas. It's pervasive in movies, you know.
It's awesome though because I can spot a Texan anywhere
Like-
around the world.
like
if I hear somebody talking,
Lone
I'm like, "Oh, there's a
Survivor
Texan over there.
with Mark Wahlberg. He's always talking about how he's from Texas, and, you know, Chris Kyle is from Texas.
That's how it is in the military.
Are all
too.
the Navy
Everyone-
SEALs, like, from Texas? Is that the thing?
No, and New York and California, believe it or not. But
Yeah, but, like,
bigger
you guys
states.
are larger than life. Maybe because your state is big.
well, I think it's ingrained in us. I mean, we do a lot of Texas history in Texas. At least when I was growing up, like, everything was Texas. Take care of yourself. Be a man's man. and
You're not going to get
Yeah.
that in California.
No, but
Or New
there are
York.
California.
Have you seen Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah,
Yeah, so you know what, you know, Gunnery Sergeant Hartman thinks about Texas.
steers and
Yeah, we're going to leave it at that. We'll just leave it at that. But, you know, when I went to the National Academy, we had a Texas night, and so all the you know, police officers from Texas, you know, made, of course, what do you think we ate?
brisket,
Yeah, big steaks and brisket, and, you know,
tomahawk steak.
yeah, it's just, and they all wore their hats, and, you know, it was just a big.
And when I ran out of baseball hats, I was like, well, I guess I could wear my cowboy hat.
I'm still waiting
Throw
for
my
this to
earphones
happen.
Backwards.
Yeah, I'm still
We're
waiting for
getting
the other one.
close. I got about 3 or 4 more hats left, unless I pick some up in the next few days.
Do you need to rock the cowboy hat?
I will. At some
you are
point.
from
when
Texas.
when it's appropriate, I will.
Do you wear cowboy boots?
Yeah, I might actually wear them to the school board meeting tonight since it's kind of cold and rainy out.
Are they comfortable? I always hear that
You
they
gotta
are.
break them in. Once you break them in, they're like gloves on your feet.
That's all my grandfather's ever worn, his cowboy boots.
I've never worn a pair.
Really?
Yeah, never.
Well, you talk so highly of Texas, Grandma Susan.
It's because I ran a fast marathon there.
If he didn't do well, he'd be like, screw
Yeah,
Texas.
I can promise you, I
You're
wasn't
at
wearing cowboy boots.
-2 sea level, and
Yeah.
that helps being even just 1,000 feet up.
I've only been to Texas twice. I've been to Houston both times, so I feel like there's more to see there.
There's a lot. I was telling Tim the other day that Dallas is like the New York of Texas. Austin's like the San Francisco, California of Texas. Then you have Houston.
Listen, 6th Street in Austin is a lot of fun.
I agree. It was back in 1998, last time I was there, 97.
What's San Antonio like? I've always heard good things.
That's awesome.
It's
I mean,
nice.
the Alamo's there.
Yeah.
Anytime we would drive through San Antonio, it was like, we got to go see the Alamo.
I
You
heard
know
there's
what's
a
disappointing about the Alamo,
boardwalk or
though?
something.
Yeah, they
Is,
do have a nice boardwalk.
yeah, it's nice too, like a river.
Walk down there, you got all
Yeah.
kinds of drinks, good food.
But
Some of it's kind of touristy, but if you know what you're looking for, it's some good food.
so like the Alamo is cool. I've been there. It's cool as shit. What like, it's literally in the middle of the city now, though. Like here's the Alamo, and it's like city all around it. It's
Yeah.
you know you just think they'd be out a little bit, but it's not. Like
It's
it's
in the city.
it's so cool,
It's
though.
right off the Riverwalk.
it's cool. It's puts such a different feeling to. You've heard the stories, and then you see it, and you're like, holy, and then how different that had to look back then.
Yeah, it was a lot
You know.
bigger walls all the way around.
Yeah, and then just like the flat sand, and no, San Antonio's nice.
Have I ever talked about this on our show? About our show, like that? See?
You and Rob getting
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah. See,
Him and his
that's
second
how
degree.
we have to do it slowly. You know what I mean? We're going to just start sort of subtly, linguistically, just changing a couple things here and there before you guys start to feel like I'm starting to feel a little out of place. And just before we know it, Rob and I are just like, hey, why don't you guys just stay out and do some work in the garden? And before you know it, you forgot that you even have a show. You know. But anyway, I don't know if I've talked about this before with y'all, but. You know that the library in Newport does the award every year for the Sarah Josepha Hale Award.
Yeah.
Have I talked about how they tried to give it to John F. Kennedy?
No.
Okay, so 63, right? Was when he was assassinated.
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah.
The Newport Library sent him an invitation that he was, had been chosen to be the Hale Award, and the ceremony is in the late fall. And he wrote back that he wasn't able to attend because the date of the celebration ceremony, he had a conflict and he was going to be in Dallas that weekend.
I bet he didn't know about that presentation and reward.
They have, and obviously he never came home from Dallas because he got killed when he was there. So they have that letter at the library here in Newport.
Really?
Yep.
That
Is
is.
it framed in there?
I assume
Or
it's
is it-
I assume it's framed, but yeah.
Do you suppose LBJ got the letter first and said, "Oh, this
Oh, there
is
you
not
go.
going to work with our timing"?
LBJ, another Texan.
I don't know
I
if I
got
claim
anything to
that.
say
What?
I don't know if I claim.
He did a lot. He did a lot for the country following. Not talking about Vietnam, but like he did pass the civil rights bill. He made sure that got through, and he did a lot of other.
There's some good things.
He did other good things, following his JFK's assassination. That JFK was like set on, and he made sure that those things got through. But
Where do you get this information though? Because
I
like
read.
I've lived in Newport, Croydon, Newport, like my whole life, and you know this, and like
Yeah.
I would think you would know that about Claremont, but not Newport.
I know some stuff about Claremont, but yeah, I don't know.
That is-
I like history stuff.
That's in
and
a book, or
what?
the letter and not coming here and sending a letter back saying there's a conflict of interest, or did you find that out by talking to somebody?
So my mother has been on the library board, and my dad's been on the library board. My mom's the one that told me they were very involved in the Sarah Josepha Hale thing, and somewhere along the way, I picked up the story. So
That's an awesome story, though. Like,
I thought when you were asking me where I get this kind of stuff about like LBJ, yes, I read a lot. So I
yeah. So one other thing.
Go.
Did you post your active shooter training?
I'm going to post it this afternoon. It's a week from today.
Yeah, 'cause people are asking
5:30 to 8:30 next Thursday afternoon.
at the All-Pros. I told them all this.
Yeah.
Like, I can't find this online. I'm like,
Yeah, you'll find it. I'll post it today.
That's all
Promise.
cool, yeah.
Hand up.
I just feel
No,
like
I had
have to
a-
watch the show to get the information.
I made it a sort of a mental bookmark on the way up here. I said when I get done with the show, I'm going to go back and put it out. So
Cool. 2 times now I've been talking about it on the show.
Yeah, we should get sponsored by the police department.
Right. One get out of free jail card.
Yeah, last night when we were driving back from the graduation, I was like, "Ooh, better slow down." And my brother was like, "Why? All the cops are showing, directing traffic." I was like, "I didn't see Chief there." So Chief might be out here patrolling these streets.
last night.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I don't want to tell you. I want to keep a little bit of a
keep
mystery.
it a mystery, but
Yeah, because I want everybody to think.
You want it to be like
Not
me, where I was
Steve,
like,
because
let me
I know
slow
that you
down.
don't break the law.
I did a little bit last night. Well, I was going a couple miles over.
But I want people to think that I'm everywhere all the time.
It appears that way. As much as we go around, we see you just about everywhere.
That's true.
I'm omnipresent.
And I'm tired.
I'm not omniscient. You're omniscient.
No.
No, you are, because you're the wizard.
Well, allegedly.
From Harry Potter.
Dumbledore?
And Tim's omnipotent.
Did you see that one woman last night? I don't know what school she went to. She
That
was,
was the Goshen superintendent. My brother was trying to guess. My brother can spot all the cap and gowns
I
from
seriously thought I was sitting in Harry Potter.
every
though.
college, so he was sitting there quizzing me. So if you saw me looking at my cell phone last night, it's because my brother was challenging me to figure out all the schools that everybody went to, and so I would try to look it up based on their cap and gown for the staff.
Ooh. I told Dr. Minahan last night that he needs to have a 4th stripe on his sleeve. Because usually, presidents of universities, when they make it to president, they get a 4th stripe. So I feel like
I give him the useless information title because I don't
You
know
and your
that.
brother.
yeah, and he needs like the gold, like the big gold medallion that, university presidents wear, and they carry the mace with them. And
You know what I think I need to do? I need to get you, your brother, and Chief in a room together. Like, you sit over on the couch and discuss, and I'll record it, because I think people would just be...
Put some board games out and
Yeah,
see how that goes.
you want to hear a weird thing that I like?
I'm sure.
Serve that up. You want to just let that marinate for a minute?
Yes.
So I have this thing. I know it's kind of weird. I get picked on a little bit about it, but I like watching graduation speeches. So, and I found a few that I really, really like. General McRaven or Admiral McRaven gave a speech at the University of Texas in 2014. The Make Your Bed speech. Have you ever heard that?
It sounds familiar.
It's pretty popular now, but he was in charge of the Navy. Well, not the Navy. They were the Special Operations Unit, like the Delta Force guys and stuff. Ultimately, who captured Osama bin Laden? As you guys are staring at me, your eyes are just bearing into me. I'm losing my knowledge, but so he was in charge of special operations, and he gave this really iconic speech to the UT graduates in 2014, and it's been sort of dubbed the "Make Your Bed" speech. He talks about the 10 lessons that he learned when he was in Buds. Such a good speech. But I think my favorite of all time is by a guy by the name of Rick Rigsby. He gave a speech to the California Maritime Academy in 2017. Awesome. Best speaker I've ever seen. Period. Hands down, unequivocally. No notes. Perfect eye contact, like perfect flow. He has like quotes that he with nothing. And he's funny. And at the end of it, like you have a frog in your throat, you could cry because like he talks about his own life. It's amazing. So Rick Rigsby, California Maritime Academy, 2017 graduate speech. He also wrote a book called The Wisdom of a Third Grade Dropout, because his father was a third grade dropout in Texas during the World War II era. And like he, ultimately his dad goes to World War II, then his dad moves to California, meets his mom. They have these two boys, and his dad teaches them basically Texas wisdom, if you will, right? Show up on time, be kind, check your ego at the door. He makes this quote that I've stolen from him, which is, ego is the anesthesia that deadens the pain of stupidity, which I really like.
I don't know about the Texas on time thing. You're not on time usually.
But my wife is a New Yorker, so.
Oh, dude, they have no respect for the clock.
No.
I think it's because of traffic.
It's got to be. And traffic, they're different. Like, my brother could tell you some stories.
Yeah, New Yorkers are different
they
anyway,
just,
right?
Bump each other out of the way, like it's no big deal. They yell at each other, and then.
Do you do that in Texas? You're going to get a shotgun to the head.
You would not want to do that in Texas.
Well, that's the other thing. In Texas, like, you try to bump someone out of the way, they'll drive over you with their monster truck, right?
Yeah, everybody drives a F-150 or higher.
F-150?
Well, or
yeah,
bigger,
lifted.
Yeah.
Exactly. It started as an F-150.
It started.
Now it's the Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, right?
Call them up and see if we can get them up here for the prom.
Yes.
All right, I gotta go.
All
I got people at my door.
All right.
It's always a pleasure. It's never a chore. I like this banter.
That's good.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. I like your wisdom, Steve. Thank you. The wise old owl,
Wait till
Steve.
you get Rob's wisdom. It'll be better than mine, I'm sure.
You compete with him. You're like, I can give better wisdom than you, Rob.
I don't know, though. He's pretty good. All right.
All right. Thank you for watching the Tim and Steve show. We'll see you next week with Chief Wilmot.